Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting frontiers in medicine, that super powerful connection between your gut and your brain. You've probably heard your gut called your second brain, and in the next few minutes, we're going to find out exactly why.
So let's start with something I think we've all felt. Have you ever just had a powerful gut feeling about something? A decision you had to make, maybe a person you just met?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's that nervous, tight knot in your stomach before a big presentation. Or it's the butterflies you get on a first date. It's this physical sensation that seems to speak its own language, right?
But here's a wild thought. What if that feeling, that gut instinct, isn't actually starting in your brain at all? What if the conversation is starting somewhere else entirely?
Well, the secret might just lie with the trillions upon trillions of microorganisms living inside of you. These tiny passengers, we call them your gut microbiota, are doing a whole lot more than just digesting your food. Turns out, they're actively talking to your brain.
So let's get properly introduced to this incredible ecosystem you've got going on inside. Because this isn't just some random collection of microbes. Oh no, scientists are now considering it a complex and absolutely vital organ in its own right.
And check this out. While everyone's microbiome is as unique as a fingerprint, a healthy gut in most people is really dominated by two main groups of bacteria, Firmicutes and Bacteroides. Together, they make up about 3/4 of your entire gut community.
Okay, so how in the world do these tiny little organisms talk to the most complex structure in the known universe, your brain? Well, it turns out they have their own dedicated superhighway. Let's talk about the gut-brain axis.
The gut-brain axis, or GBA for short, is basically a non-stop two-way conversation. It connects your brain and spinal cord, that's the central nervous system, with the huge network of nerves in your gut, which is called the enteric nervous system.
And here is the absolute key to the whole thing. This communication goes both ways. It's bidirectional. Your gut microbes can literally influence how you think and feel. And at the same time, your stress and your thoughts can change the very environment your gut bacteria live in, which can favor some species over others. It's this constant feedback loop.
So if it's a conversation, what language are they speaking? How are these messages actually getting sent back and forth? Let's decode the communication channels.
Scientists have basically figured out there are three main ways this communication happens. You've got a direct neural line, kind of like a telephone wire, called the vagus nerve. Then there's an immune pathway that uses inflammatory signals. And then there's the chemical pathway, which uses molecules you might be very surprised to find in your gut.
So let's zoom in on that chemical pathway, because this is where things get wild. Your gut is basically a neurotransmitter factory. Just look at this. Serotonin, the happy chemical. Dopamine, for motivation. GABA, for calming you down. Your gut microbes are directly involved in producing or influencing all of them.
And let's just pause on serotonin for a moment. This is the main target for a lot of antidepressant medications. Now get this, over 90%, more than 90% of your body's total supply isn't made in the brain. Nope, it's produced right down there in your gut by cells that are directly influenced by the bacteria living there. That's just an incredible statistic.
So this is this beautiful, complex system. But like any system, it can break down. What happens when the lines of communication get fuzzy, or even worse, get corrupted by stress and imbalance?
Well, the key problem is a state called dysbiosis, and that's really just a fancy word for when the delicate balance of your gut microbiome gets all thrown out of whack. The good guys get outnumbered, and the diversity of species drops. And let me tell you, this isn't just a gut problem. It has system-wide consequences.
This slide really maps out the dangerous chain reaction that can happen. It starts with that dysbiosis. That imbalance can lead to what people call leaky gut, where the lining of your intestine becomes too porous. This lets bacterial byproducts, like a toxin called LPS, escape into your bloodstream, which triggers body-wide inflammation. And when that inflammation reaches the brain, it's believed to contribute to symptoms of depression.
And this isn't just a theory, the science is really starting to back it up. This quote here is from research showing that people with major depression actually have higher levels of antibodies fighting these specific bacterial toxins. That provides a direct biological link between a leaky gut and mental health.
Okay, so that sounds pretty serious. But here's the really good news. This whole system is dynamic. We can influence it. So how can we reestablish a healthy connection and, in effect, hack our own gut-brain axis?
It turns out a whole lot of things shape our microbiome, and many are within our control. Diet's a huge one, of course, but so are our stress levels, exercise habits, and how well we sleep.
Even things like medications, especially antibiotics, can have a major impact. The point is, we can actively manage these things to support a healthier gut.
And all this research has led to a super exciting new field, meet psychobiotics. These are basically specific types of probiotics, live beneficial bacteria that researchers are studying for their potential to directly benefit our mental health. It's like a targeted approach to seeding your gut with the right team players.
And the early results are really promising. This chart here shows data from a 2016 clinical trial where patients with major depression took a specific probiotic cocktail for 8 weeks. The results were pretty clear. They saw a significantly greater improvement in their depression scores compared to the group that got a placebo. This is real, tangible evidence of the gut's power to influence the mind.
Which brings us to our final, pretty provocative thought. We're just scratching the surface here, but as we learn to decode the language of our inner ecosystem, you have to ask, could analyzing and treating the microbiome become a key part of personalized mental health care in the future? It seems the path to a healthier mind might just run straight through the gut.